Okay, today we're sitting near Orlando. Got my sun hat on even. It's nice and hot. Today I'm going to try and take care of something that's really been nagging at us for a couple of months, and that is our hitch. Is the wrong hitch for what we've been doing. Now, this is one of those situations where I don't know how to do this very well. I have an idea of how to do it, never done it before. There's bolts and things I'm hoping I have the right sockets for, and I had to buy a new grinder. Never used a grinder before, at least not like this, to take off some of the welds that were put on to make sure this doesn't come off in the middle of a trip. So we'll hope I can get it off without hurting it or me or the trailer or my truck. We'll see what happens. Now, our hitch looks good. It's basically an extender off of the kingpin to go down so it can fit onto the gooseneck of our truck. The problem with it is that the previous owners put this Flex Air pin box on it. Okay, that wasn't a problem. It's a nice box. The problem comes with this. For use on OEM kingpin boxes only, do not install on aftermarket kingpin boxes or extensions like this one. So when you put this on, there's too big of a lever, plus it moves too much in the different places, so it will just go back and forth like this when you're driving. Okay, when you stop, you're literally like this if you've been pulling, and like this if you've been backing up. Not good. Okay, first things first, there's an insert type of thing right here that you can adjust up and down. I have it adjust all the way up, and you take off 8 of these bolts, 4 on this side, 4 on the other side. That's going to take a 15/16 socket. I have my regular breaker bar, and then I have an extendable one that gets even bigger. I'll probably need this one to get those off because they are on tight. Okay, got all those loosened. Here's where I wish I had somebody in my family. They're off at the pool helping me, because I'm going to take those off and somehow catch this without dropping it on my toes, and that is a heavy bugger. Not too heavy, just enough that you're not going to want to do that. So this will be kind of fun. Okay, first step done. No problem. Next, I need to get those big bolts out. So that's where I'm hoping I have the right sockets. Now, when they installed this, you can't see if we're on the video. I guess now you can. I need to take those off to release it from the pin, but they also welded it to this plate. It's for that I've got to get out my grinder and take those welds off best I can. Never done that before, so we'll see how this goes. Yeah, no luck on that. Not even close to the right size. I was using a 15/16, so it was the biggest socket that I had. That's got to be at least an inch. So, back to the hardware store. Okay, chapter 2. No hat this time. Been to the pool, back, hardware store and back. Now I'm back to this. I did go to the hardware store here. Went to Lowe's and got some great big old sockets. Turns out I needed 1 1/8 and 1/8 to get this thing off. You also needed one of these great big dealios to get this off. This thing was on there solid. If you had this clamped onto the pin, these massive bolts holding them on this way, little boy being unhappy about not having dad's attention, then welded on. So this was not going anywhere. So I used the grinder and got rid of most of the welds that were here. Now I'm taking a hacksaw to get rid of the parts that I didn't get. Sorry, that's not focusing very well. So now I'm using a hacksaw on those areas right there. Man, this is a tough one. In case you're wondering how it's going, slowly. Okay, round 1 hitch. I'll have to go back and get some new blades. Making progress, but slowly. I decided to continue working even without my hacksaw, and I like my progress. Just keep grinding until someone complains. I decided to keep going anyway, using my grinder and a hammer, and I finally won. That was on there really, really well. Now this type of hitch is nice because you have, see how it's offset, so it actually comes back to here, and my ball's right there. Now my ball's already offset by a few inches, but that keeps you further away from your cab when you start turning this big monster here. Now our last hitch, which I'm still trying to take off, went straight up and down, and we still never touched the cab. So this will be an improvement over our last one by just a little bit, and we didn't even need to, which means I got to keep the toolbox and I shouldn't hit my cab, which is nice. You could, if you needed to, turn this around, or there have other ones that are different configurations, but this one should work just fine for what we need. Now I should point out, this ball that comes up, you can adjust the height of that using that pin right there. You can go up and down a little bit, which we'll see how we do that when we get the trailer on it. And no, Andersen is not paying me to do this. I really wish they would, but they're not. This is just the best I could find online. People said this is nice. It's about like 45 pounds, 35 pounds total, as opposed to those big fifth wheel hitches that are like 200 pounds and need an engine hoist just to lift them in and out. This, I just carried it out myself out of the floor, out of the dealership, and just put it in. No big deal. We like that. As long as it pulls this trailer, I'm happy.